It's the last plenary session before the National Assembly proceeds on a 2-week recess, and lawmakers in both chambers have before them two critical economic and policy documents: the revised fiscal policy framework and 2022 budget for passage. Federal lawmakers in the Senate are displeased at the level of crude oil theft, which is dealing a huge blow to the economy.
As a state, as a nation state, a sovereign state, it should not be impossible for us to stop people that are stealing our commonwealth in order to fund our country.
They also question how the country intends to finance the budget deficit.
Mr. President, when you have a deficit as high as 7-point-something trillion, with a threshold of 3.99, which is totally and absolutely above the threshold as presented by the Fiscal Responsibility Act, it means that the budget ab initio cannot be implemented.
NMPC has transited from under recovery. Now we have gone back to subsidy. And now we are moving from billion to trillion. It is so sad because this is money we should have used for developing our economy. We're using that money for pure consumption, useless consumption, and funding corruption. And this cannot be allowed.
As at the first quarter of 2022, 13 vessels have been seized by the Nigerian Navy that contain our crude oil. So know that the Nigerian government is just sitting down doing nothing. They are working around the clock. And all these vessels that were stolen, they are working on it to see how it is returned back so that the crude oil can be properly disposed of and revenue related to this adequately reported.
Despite the concerns raised by lawmakers, the Senate approves President Buhari's request for adjustments to the 2022 fiscal framework with several indices.
And I agree completely with most of the issues raised, except that of not passing it. Because we need to take immediate actions, and in fact, we are going to set up another committee on this oil theft matter because we need to address it.
The upper chamber also passes the 2022 amended budget in the sum of 17.3 trillion naira. The budget is amended to make additional provision of 3.557 trillion naira for petrol subsidy and restore cuts made by the National Assembly from key capital projects in the 2022 budget proposal. The House of Representatives also passes the revised 2022 budget. The chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, explains the amendments made in the budget.
We increased the police salary by 182 billion. That is, I think that's the only difference between the Appropriation Act and the Amendment Bill.
The National Assembly raised the benchmark price of crude by $11 to accommodate the subsidy request of President Buhari. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.